Hey friends, welcome back. Another NAMM has come and gone, and there was a ton of gear to check out, and I actually got to sample quite a lot of gear. So I thought today we'd have a chill live stream, get back to the SP404, Old Faithful, and flip some of those samples. I didn't have time to get every sample that I got, but I grabbed a few, and then to save a little time on the live stream and spare you from watching me just tweak the pitch endlessly, I then duplicated them and made some repitched versions that are all in the same key. But I think the best way to start is actually talk a little bit about the samples that we have, show them. Now, if you want to see the videos of me demoing them, you can check out the video that's linked in the description. But I'd be curious to hear as well from you if you caught any NAMM coverage, what gear caught your eye, or if you got to go, did anything catch your eye? I actually really liked the S1 and I was able to borrow it, so we're gonna try and use that too. This is new, so we'll see how it goes. But let's start with some of the samples. So speaking of Roland Compacts, I got a couple of T8 samples. We've got a good 808 kick, and then I've got, if we go here, this loop, which if you listen closely, I think it's got every sound we need. We've got a kick with the hi-hat, but we also have this kick without one. We've got that hi-hat roll, and then we have a little snare that I believe is isolated, so I think we can just chop that up and get some drum sounds. And then over here, now this is a little distorted because of the cable that I recorded it with when I was at NAMM. You know, there's so much noise on the show floor, you just get what you can. But this is the ROLI Piano with the Airwave, which is the one that you can do hand gestures to control different modulation points and things. So we've got this nice piano. Now, I kind of like the distortion on it, but we're gonna drop the pitch and do all of that. As you'll see, I'll actually show you real quick. The version that we're gonna use is pitched down 9 semitones. And there's a reason for that, because we've talked about it before, but I like now, as I get more and more into sample-based music, to think of every sample as a piece of the puzzle. And on top of that, every octave range is part of that puzzle, right? So as we make the beat, we'll get there. Let's see, we also have this crazy bass sound from the Stylophone DS-2. This was one of the my favorite things that I saw at NAMM. Just listen to that thing. So I had to check, because the way that one works, you're modulating pitch like crazy and all that. Just to get it to C, I had to drop it down 6.21 semitones. So then I resampled that, and we have this shorter kind of swell one. So that should work for a bass, but we might also use Sound Generator to get a sort of like sine wave type of sound, something like that. Okay, and then the last one that I've got for today, we have a lot more samples, and I'll put them all up for Solar Sailor channel members and up. But I actually got to meet up with another SP404 YouTuber, Yukes, and he was showing and demoing a Chinese stringed instrument that I think was called the Guzheng, something like that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, but we recorded that into the P6, and so we've got some sounds of that. I'm just gonna run through this sample because it's really cool. Okay, so real quick, let me just show you the pitched versions. I already showed you this crazy pitched piano from that ROLI, but I took a couple of little spots from this that I thought would sound really cool. This one, and I dropped it, I want to say 5. Yeah. And then I also found an octave part of that, or very similar to that. So we have these two. We've got our bass, and then we've got the drums. So let's actually start. I'm going to move a couple of things around. First, we'll chop this because we have 2 notes here. So I'm just going to copy this one over. We could do chop, but it's just easier for me to quickly find the part. So this is 2 chords I was playing, like arpeggiated chords. And I actually like starting it with that swell. That should work. Okay, we can, if we need to kind of adjust timings and stuff later, we can. But that should be a good enough start. Let me see where this one starts. This was a much longer sample, so it takes a while to load. We'll probably want to about here. Okay, so we got to work on the timings a little bit. Let's just get a little more of that intro chopped up. Maybe I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That should work. Yeah, I think that'll work. We'll go from there and see what we find. We'll probably change these chops a little bit more. They sound slightly off, but I feel like once we get a drum beat in, they'll probably link up. Let's go, hold on. You can see if we zoom in, we'll just skip that little sound. And we'll need a little envelope, just a little bit. Oh, I kind of like that. There's some micro timings there, but I like that. All right, let's stick with that for now. We've got our bass, we've got this sound. So let's just get these drums chopped up. We have a kick here. I'm gonna just move this. Actually, we can exchange it here. Move that there. And then actually, I don't know why I did that, because I'm gonna just copy each one to isolate a sound. So we'll just put that down here. We'll get two different hi-hats and that kick with the hi-hat and then the snare. So the way I like to usually have my drum shaped is kick, snare, hi-hat, and then we'll probably flip these, but we'll get like an alternate kick up here. We'll see how that goes. Also, I've got a new mic. I just wanted to try. I got this one for NAMM, so let me know in the comments if everything's cool volume-wise and stuff. But yeah, I tested it beforehand, but you never know, so just in case, let me know. All right, let's start with the snare. We're gonna go to chop, and we're gonna zoom in, and we're gonna find that snare, which is probably this, just judging from the waveform. Yep, okay. Let's get in right there. And then I only want that snare, so let's get everything else out of it. I also had some snares that have the kick sound, but I don't want that. We're just gonna go here. Let's move that a little more. Whoa, where'd it go? Is that the snare? Yeah, I wanna just make sure before we truncate we've got, yeah, see there's just a little bit of silence left. I think you're seeing it all. Yeah, perfect. All right. And let's just, that should work perfectly. All right, next up, let's get just a hi-hat. Let's find maybe, I'm seeing this looks like the hi-hat roll. If we zoom in even more, you can kind of see multiple waveforms, so that should work. I almost want to keep that other kick in that hi-hat, but I think we'll get rid of it. And then, where'd it go? Let's see. This is such a tiny chop that we're making. That works. And then let's get that roll. I'll put the end first. All right, let's take that. That's kind of cool. That works. Ooh, I didn't mean to hit that again, but that actually works really well. That should work. I think we got something. All right. Oh yeah, last thing I want that kick that has that hi-hat, that first kick right here. And then we need to cut a lot of the end. Just the kick. That should work. Just in case, I'm going to put a little release at the end. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, let's put something in. All right, so let's go to pattern. We'll work in D. And yeah, 76 BPM should be good. Let's go with the quantize. Let's start with 16. I'm going to try to play this in with very minimal quantize, and then if I completely butcher it, we'll fix it in post. But I'm going to do just 2 bars to start and then probably duplicate it. But that's, I think, a good start. Yeah, that should work. I almost wanted a little more off time. Let's hear how those. I don't know if I like those. Forgot we were in record, but that actually worked because now we can kind of test out the timing. Yeah, that can work. I think that's gonna work. Okay, let's just keep recording in actually. I'm gonna just test. I always like to have Kodama on, and the quarter dotted is usually my go-to, so let's try that. Hear how, if you got stereo, which you should, I think for this, the way I'm doing it with the audio, SPs as the audio interface, but the ping pong that Kodama adds just kind of gels everything together always, in my opinion. Yeah. Could do maybe just a quarter. Animotions in the chat says, hey, what's going on, Animotion? How are you? One other thing I want to do, actually, I want to just, because I'm hearing something in my head that we'll get to, but I want to duplicate this higher octave one and up it, because I'm kind of hearing one of those like little 16 velocity something like that. So we'll probably put that in, but let's get in this sound. Oh yeah, we have our bass too. Yeah, all right, I'm figuring out where I want to kind of go from here, but this is actually a good time to talk about the sort of puzzle pieces I was talking about. So I wanted these pianos to be a much lower octave because I've been thinking a lot more when it comes to samples. I like to think of samples in their octave range or kind of their tone, right? So these I wanted real low so that this can stick out in a slightly higher octave, and then we can do something maybe in a higher octave range with this. We'll make a new, that's the LFO. But we can have, you know, here. You know, something there. And we'll fix that patch when we get to it. But that is a great way to kind of look at it. Instead of like individual samples, you're just putting everything together and just kind of finding where they fit together. And for me, that works. I'd be curious if you've tried doing it that way, like thinking in that way, if it helps at all. But for me, coming from like a DAW workflow, I like to think of it that way, where it's just like each of these is like a little puzzle piece that we're just putting and fitting together and finding the right fit. And the octave is a great way to kind of think of it that way. Like, okay, this octave, so that'll sit here. And then when we want to do a lead or something, that's going to be a higher octave range. All right, let's do, I'm wondering if we want to up the bars yet. Yeah, let's do, actually, before we do the that other instrument, that Yukes sample, let's get a bass sound in. Okay, perfect. Now all I'm gonna do, because that is really loud, is just take that down. And then I think I want that just to be one note that rings out, gives it a little bit of a higher range to the bass. And then I think we're gonna do a sine wave through sound generator, which means we don't need to do much in terms of like reshaping and resampling that sine wave. So let's give that a shot. Let's go here and let's do a sine wave. Now I always lower this first because 127 is loud on sound generator. So I'm gonna put it to like 20. Okay, I'm wondering, chat, let me know. Some of you on like a phone speaker or something might not be able to hear this. So if you want me to do something with a little more high-end frequency range, let me know. But for now, I'm gonna do the saw or sine. Actually, maybe let's do triangle because that'll give it a little more shape to it. I'm gonna put that on 8. I really like the sine wave, but I have to think, since this is first and foremost a YouTube video, if you're watching on a phone or some smaller device that doesn't have much low end, you probably won't hear it. You might not even hear this triangle, but I'm hoping at least maybe you'll hear a little bit of the higher end. I could add sounds as we always do, resampling, you know, adding some warm saturate or something. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it here because really, this is just kind of gonna solidify the low end and hit with that. One thing, I am gonna put that on bus 2 actually, because I don't want that one to get hit with the delay, but I want that one to get hit with delay. And we're just gonna add on this just a little attack to kind of act like a side chain when the kick hits. Anna says, I can hear it fine. Awesome. Okay, so that's good. That's very good to hear. Corbin says, SP404 is just special. Was on my MPC1 tonight and just missed good delay effects. Does the MPC not have good delays? That I've not messed with an MPC ever. It's something I've always wanted to check out. I just haven't had a chance. But someday. But yeah, Corbin, does the MPC, in your opinion, at least not have good delays? That's kind of a bummer because like I always go with that Kodama to just thicken up. It's like one of, besides the 3 and 4 bus special sauce of cassette sim and 303 or compressor, that's my other go-to to just kind of like goodify anything going through the SP. Let's get a little more. I want just a, let me do a ton. Hear how that kick now sits louder and then the bass swells up. So that's a bit more than I want, but maybe 10. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, perfect. All right, that's enough of the sound design for now. Let's go in and record that bass. And we're gonna quantize this one a bit more. I'm gonna do 1/8. Yeah, let's do that. And then I'm gonna put it in rehearsal, put it on chromatic. Yeah, that works. Let it run one time. Now, one thing I'm hearing, I really want that snare to have some reverb. And we could either take up bus 2 and use SX reverb, because I kind of like the idea. This is kind of a like ghostly song, right? I kind of like the idea of having reverb. Listen to that. It just kind of dampens everything. Oh, if I had a rain sample, this would be perfect. I don't think I have any on this. We could look later, but some texture in the back might be nice. Maybe we'll use the noise in sound generator to get some sound in the background, or even resample 404, that could work. But we'll get there. We haven't even thrown on this yet, but that bass really brings it all together. I like that reverb. I think we're gonna stick with it. It means we can't do any sort of, like, but maybe that's overused anyway, so that might help. We can focus on playing this later or something when we get to it. All right. Okay, next up, we're gonna go to pattern edit, and I'm gonna select this one. We're gonna duplicate it so that it's 4 bars instead of 2 bars. Because I wanna do a little bit with that playing. Let's hear. Yeah, that should work. Okay, let's record that in. And let's go to quarter, because that should work. Maybe we'll stick to 8, just in case. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. On here, let's go to envelope and let's add a little release, which should mean when I take my hand off, it's gonna ring out a little bit. So that should give it a little more. Let's hear it, because it means, see, when I let go, it still plays a little bit of the sample. I can show you if we go here. See how it keeps going? Let me zoom in. It plays just a little bit because I set the release. So that might help with that transition between the 5 and the 6. And let's actually do that with this one too. Just a little bit. Maybe 15. Yeah, that should work. Let's see. A little more release on 5. Do a lot, actually. Double. Yeah, that cleans it up a little bit. I'm just seeing if I want to have. We haven't used that one yet. Maybe we don't need it. I like that this is very slow. I don't typically make these like slower BPM tracks, so it's nice to work out of that. Corbett says dope. Okay, if you know how to pronounce it, I'm blanking on how to pronounce it. Is it Guzheng? But yeah, dope. Guzheng Chops. Yeah, those are actually from Yukes. If you know Yukes, the YouTuber, I met up with him at NAMM, and we threw some samples through the P6 that I brought. That was acting as my audio interface at NAMM. So all these samples, I went P6, which is up here. And then via USB-C, I went right into an iPad Pro, which is in its case with Logic. And that was my little recording setup. And it actually worked really well. The only issue was this cable, when I did the ROLI samples, just distorted for some reason. I don't know why. I'm going to just put the P6 here, just so I don't feel like reaching over there. I'm lazy. Okay, from there, let's go maybe to the S1 now. Let's get some sound. I'm gonna have to, this isn't gonna be like the most aesthetic look. I apologize until we kind of get apart. We might have to keep it this way actually. So maybe we rearrange real quick. And I'm still working on revising my setup. So this mount, it goes horizontal, but it has a lot of shaking and I'm still trying to figure that out. Maybe a counterweight or something. But until then, this is where we're at. So I apologize if there's some shaking. I'm still working on it. Okay, let's do some sound design. So I just got the S1. I'm a big fan of its sound though. I love the SH101 and then I have a clone. I don't know if you can see it, but that red one is a Behringer MS1. But what really intrigued me with this is that it's polyphonic. It's got 4-voice polyphony and then all of the, if you use the pattern sequencing and the step recorder, you can do tons of automation. Now we probably won't get anywhere near that today. I'm going to use it more for just playing the lead on top probably. But you can do some really cool stuff like changing the LFO rate if you have the LFO set while it's playing and do just awesome stuff with that. But we'll get there hopefully in a future video or future live stream. Corbin says, it's koto in Japanese, which is easier to say. Same instrument technically. Well, that's cool. That is a lot easier to say. Okay, I wanted to kind of hear, I just want a little noise. Let's get that resonance. A little LFO. I don't think this LFO is synced. If we're brave, we can dive into the menus and see. Oh, I like that. Take that noise out though. Let's do a little LFO on the pitch. Get some reverb. We might brave the menus because I kind of want to change the reverb. Coming from the P6 though, I feel a little knowledgeable on like how to move. It is a very similar workflow, but it is different because it's a synth more than like a sampler. You have so many different options here and all that. Let's get a little portamento on. If we hold shift, we can change it. That's a little too much. Okay, let's set the BPM actually. I forgot to do that. So we're in 76, so let's go to 76 so that these effects are linked. I like that. It's almost there. Up in the release a little bit. I like that. Okay. That should work. We haven't really done any, I mean, I could sequence it. I don't have it MIDI synced, so it's not gonna do the best. I have to like hit play, but maybe we'll do that for the next one. For now, I like that sound. That's decent enough to where I want it. We can also do maybe a sound generator sound for like a pad. But I think for now, we'll keep it where we've got it. Oh, I almost wonder. Hold on. One other thing I want to experiment with. We've got that. That's me raising the, I think, filter on the ROLI Piano. I probably should talk about some of these samples that I got. So the ROLI Piano, I know I said what they all are, but the ROLI Piano lets you do some crazy manipulation when you combine it with this airwave. It's a pretty cool combo, but so when you're playing the piano, right, like if you're doing this, if you shut your hand, that gates the sound. If you move it up, it does like a filter sweep. If you go across, you kind of feel like a Jedi the way you're moving it around. But that start of this sample is me actually doing that filter, and I think it changes the sustain or something too, or I might have been doing multiple things, but really cool little way of performing. It reminded me a lot of a theremin, if you've ever seen that theremin where you kind of play without actually playing anything, but it's like 4-dimensional, and it just feels like expressive performance. So I like that a lot. And it's definitely, in terms of sampling, it's a lot of fun, as you can see, the way you can kind of get cool little chops out of it. So what I want to do, speaking of, is move this to here. And let's see if we can get just that kind of pad sound. Oh, I like that. That's cool. Let's go right. Just not get that piano. That should work. Okay. Now we're out of space. Because I kind of want to resample it. Okay, you know what we're going to do? We're going to delete that original sample. I still have it, don't worry. It's on the computer and all that, and on my iPad from Stylophone. We still got this crazy bass sound from it. I'm going to resample this one though. Let's do a little effect. So let's do maybe, I'm thinking Crusher. Maybe not that much. That should be good. And then we'll go .404. I'm gonna do a little less of that Crusher. That's good. Resample it. Now I probably should have added some other sounds on bus 3 and 4, but that should work. Okay. There we go. So with that, I just want to see. That's kind of trippy. I think we'll just stick with those two. I'm gonna just put this quiet. I like to have something kind of in the background. It's gonna add something more to the track. And then it's more we can take away when we arrange it. I'm just checking the time. We'll do some arrangement, but I usually finalize these after. And then I'm always like, oh, why didn't I think of this part in the arrangement while I was live? But that's just the way it always works, right? Like, it's good to take a break, come back, and fix things and see. You get some perspective. But let's put that there. So we have to fix, I'm gonna go into TR rec mode. Shift record will get us there. Yeah, we're gonna put that there. Actually, we might have to redo it, because I still haven't figured out gate in terms of that. Crusher and Vital Simmer, like Frank's Red Hot Sauce. Yeah, add like a Hadu or SX Reverb. It's just then when you sample it, you might have some complications. But that, I love that. And Cassette Sim, also another one that's some nice special sauce there on that. Okay, I'm going to do one more take of that start. I just need to get the metronome on. And get out of TR rec mode. Oh, I forgot to trigger this sample first, so let me hit record. Okay, last thing, I think, before we kind of start arranging, is I want to do a little something with that. Because I'm thinking something like that would be cool. These pads are not clicking with doing that. I think it's something with the way this is set. But let's try that. I'm just like, maybe we'll do, yeah, we'll keep it at 8. See how it's glitching? It only got the 1 out of all that. Let's undo that. We could, I guess, record it. We could record it in TR rec mode. I'm gonna try it one more time though, because I would really like to get that. Let's let it run one more time. Actually, I wonder if we just shut off gate, because it should choke itself, I think. Let's see. I think that worked. So I only want that 1 actually, so let's go into TR rec mode. That's perfect though, that actually worked. That's what I thought would happen, and I'm glad that it did. I'm gonna just actually drop the volume. That should work. Or it seems, I like it, but it doesn't seem to be exactly where I want. I can't see when I go into TR rec mode though. It doesn't show. It should be doing much more. Let's see if that takes it out. So it's not showing all the velocities that it should be. Let's see if that helps. See? It's like still there. So that's an interesting thing I've never seen before with TR rec mode, is that it's not getting the 16 velocities. Oh, that's because it's the wrong pad. That's why. Duh. I was like, that's strange. Okay, so we're hitting the wrong pad. So we do need to redo that synth then. I'll get that in real quick. Let's just go into TR rec mode, undo that synth completely, and then we'll do that part again. I was like, it should show all of that, and I'm sure it will. So we'll redo that synth in a second. Let's go here. So it's this. all of these. That's perfect. Okay, let's get that synth back in then. And we'll get out of TR rec mode. Okay, cool. All the effects are off too. Let's turn those back on. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's do a little quick arrangement and then we'll do a jam. And the easiest way I've found to structure tracks on the SP is to just build everything on one pattern and then slowly copy things by using the remain. You can choose what you move. So let's see, how do we want to start it? We've got the piano, we've got that, the sample. Let's do maybe, let's see what it sounds like with the drums and piano. So if you hit, let me do that a little slower actually. If you hit to copy, choose one, then hit remain. You can choose which, I didn't actually choose where to go though. I'm gonna put it on 9, then hit remain. You can choose which ones you wanna go to. Anna's got a drop, no worries. Thanks for joining, awesome to see you. Hope you're doing well. Let's start with the piano. We're not gonna do those sub-step yet. And then I wanna see what else do we have. Let's not do that. That's our bass. That's our other bass. Let's just start with this. That should be pretty good. I like that reverb actually on everything with bus 2. It means we can't do like a filter. Well, I guess we could. And bring it, or do something. Well, we'll mess with that as we get there. That's for down the road in like 5 minutes. Okay, from there, so we've got this. We'll copy that and do some changes with the drums to kind of segue, but we'll get there next. Over here, let's do maybe just the first sample of that Guzheng, and then the drums and the, not the pad. Let's see what happens if we do it without the full bass. We just do that distorted bass. And I didn't do the second sample. Okay, actually I want that second sample, so we're gonna move that back over. Sometimes that trips. Let's do that. Here we go, put it here, hit remain. Don't know why it wants to do that. Let's go here, copy, put that here, remain. It's tripping now. There it is. I always get that sometimes. I don't know if that's a bug or what. It just won't show the pads that are all there. So we need these, we need the drums. We'll add the substep. We'll add that. That should work. That's perfect. Okay, then we'll go in. Now we'll bring everything in but space. That's bass. That's the pad. Okay, bring everything but that. I'm not sure I feel that little higher pitch thing. Perfect. Okay, and then let's get a bit of a B section we can do up here where we do the pad, the bass, not the distorted bass. Let's do that. Ooh, that note does not sound right. Ooh, that pad might be the wrong note. So what we might do then, first we'll delete that. And in here, I'm gonna just go to TR rec mode and let's find that pad. We'll just undo. So it'll just hit at the start. Okay, then for the B section, that might be where we play the lead and just have the bass. Let's try that. We'll add that first synth pad too. Maybe it's that bass. Yeah, I think it's that bass actually that's the wrong note. So we might need to go in and fix that bass then. Let's go from, I want to hear this again. I mean, in this, it seems to work all right. All right, I don't know why when we switch it here, it just sounds off to me. Must be something in that tone. That's weird. This is the bass that we're playing. Let me just go in. If we hit the pattern, let's see what it's playing. That sounds right to me. So that's strange, because then when it goes to here, weird. All right, we'll let it be though. It sounds fine when it's together, so we're just not gonna do that then for the B section, and I'll move, maybe we'll do that. Let's do those samples, the pad. Let's do that for the B section. That'll work. All right, so I think we're gonna kind of stop it there. We've been going for about an hour. If you want to get all of these samples, they'll be up for channel members at the Solar Sailor tier and up. And then if you want to learn how to get the most out of the SP with all the kinds of tricks to make the most of everything on here, because there is a lot. I do have a cheat sheet. The link is in the description. It's got tips on how to do all kinds of things with the 404. I'm working on some new cheat sheets for a couple different pieces of gear. But yeah, I think when it comes to arrangement, I wanted to do a couple B sections and stuff. We might do one. I've done some other live streams where I talk about it. If you want to see more about how I finish completely tracks and release them with the SP, let me know. I'll do another live stream about it. But basically what I do is this is like the main body of the track, right? And what I'll do then is I'll copy each of these to like one under it. So like 9 and 13 are the same column, which mean they're, for me, that they're the same kind of part. Like this is the A section of the track, or the intro. And then what I'll do is I'll go into TR rec mode and I'll find, let's say, to keep it simple to start with, I'll do something like, okay, for the fourth bar, so I moved it all the way to bar 4, or the fourth part of it, I'll just remove all of the drums, or except for the last little part, right? And I might do, let's say we can do a substep here of the hi-hat, and then we can do another one that's a faster one with a lower velocity though, right here, and then we'll get a straight one. Let's actually do another build right here, and let's see what that sounds like. And then that would then go into 10. And then I'll make, let's say on 10, I like to do a dropout at the start of the track, so, or at the start of the bar. So let's go into TR rec mode here. And let's drop out these kicks. We'll probably want it to start there. And we'll do another bit of substep here, let's say. And put this one with lower velocity, do some velocity changes. Maybe we do a faster, oh, I like that all 4. And let's do that. Let's see what that sounds like. Another thing you could do, like I'm doing that in this same part, but you could have that be the start of when you bring everything in, right? But doing these sorts of drops, let's just play through that real quick. I will pattern chain it. And then we'll do a B section. This is not the jam yet, but just to show kind of doing these dropouts. So we're gonna do the dropout. Oh, it should have dropped out, hold up. Let's go into there. Oh right, it's 4 bars, so it's gonna run through it a couple times. So because I did 4 bars, I almost would do it all in 1 bar, but that's okay. So here's the dropout. New part. Drop at the start. And then that builds into the chorus. So maybe in 14 as well, we'll go in here real quick. And I'm gonna add another snare at the end. We'll do a snare there and a big hi-hat. Let's do, on here, let's do this. Don't usually do a ton of hi-hat substeps, but this one just calls for it. Oh, I think the snare is a substep. That I don't want. And I dropped the velocity a little bit. Okay, that should lead us right, if we go from there to 11, that should lead us to our big chorus. There we go. Okay, perfect. So, and then we just have that B section. I would probably work a bit more on the B section and then figure out whatever that issue is with the bass. Corbin says, I have the same issue with bass on the SP. It's hard to tune, so I just reverted to plugging a bass guitar, boosting lows like mad, and adding distortion to keep it popping. I get that, yeah. I've never run into that. I think it might be something with maybe the harmonics on this triangle wave. I didn't, usually with Sound Generator, I run it through a filter and all that type of stuff first, and that would probably, it sounds like it's these upper harmonics to me that are just kind of throwing it out. But it's weird because it also just sounds like in the track it's normal, but then when I play it soloed, it just sounds like it's the wrong pitch or something. So I don't know what's going on there. But you know, with these live streams, it's best to just kind of let it ride, and then maybe after I'll diagnose it and I'll mention, if I find out what was doing it, like when I watch it back or just figure it out, I'll post it in the comments. But yeah, I mean, it's all good either way. It definitely seems to work when the track is playing, at least through these headphones. But yeah, I think from there, we're going to just do a jam out and then we'll call it a day. But if you've got any questions about the gear at NAMM, if you saw my video and you want to find out more about anything that I saw, go ahead and post it while I do this jam. We're just going to use that pattern sequence that I already did. Let's go here, add one more, and then we're going to go back into these and then end on that. Now, I would also probably add a variation with 11, but we're not going to do that. It's totally fine. And then I'm going to just kind of play this. I would think a little more meticulously about where I'd be placing everything for the final jam. And I definitely expand on this, add a lot more variation in even the same patterns. But it's all good. Corbin says, saving grace is most people listen to music on speakers that don't reproduce bass. Yeah, and even more so than that, since this is a YouTube video, most are probably watching on their phone or something, or, you know, those AirPods, whatever. So there's probably not much bass response anyways. I only added that because this bass has a lot of low end, but it needs a little more kind of like oomph, which I would have done sine wave. You know what? Hold on real quick. Before we go, I want to experiment with something. Let's, I'm going to just test. I'm going to copy this over to here just so I have it. And I'm going to delete this one. It should save all the patterns we did. If not, then we lose the basses, no problem. But I want to go in. Let's do a sine wave. And I want to see if that solves the problem. Now, if you are listening on headphones, you may not hear this, and I do apologize, but I do just want to test this out. Oh, did it lose the bass? I think it did lose the bass part. All right, so we might have just lost the bass part, which is a bummer. So that sucks. Usually it saves it, though. Oh, maybe it's because we deleted it rather than exchange it. Oh, well. I'll tell you what then. Maybe we'll just play the bass live, but let's throw in the drums here. That sounds more right to me. So maybe it was that upper harmonic. Okay, so now unfortunately I lost. Let's just see real quick if I move this over, if I do exchange. I want to see if it saved that part. And if it didn't, then we'll just re-record it real quick. Oh wait, 3 doesn't have the bass. That's why it wasn't there. So let's exchange it one more time. It's an interesting day today. I'm forgetting all kinds of stuff. It's been a while since I've used the SP, so I'm forgetting this. Let's test one more thing, because I forgot. Yeah, okay, it did save. That's what I thought. I like that sine wave better. It does sound kind of more like a modern 808 compared to the triangle. Yeah, there we go. So I think it is the higher harmonics in that triangle wave that was just kind of throwing it off. Because if I go in... Oh, why are we in a weird... That sounds... Now I'm not hearing that kind of clash that I was hearing. So I think it was that triangle wave and it needed to just get some sound shaping. So we're just going to stick with that sine wave. All right, with that little misadventure, we'll do the jam now. I'm going to figure out where I kind of want to add this sound. I'd probably keep tweaking this as well, or maybe add a pattern. But just add a little... Yeah, that works. Oh, and lastly, let's get that special sauce on. All right, so I just added real quick cassette sim and 303, which is my preferred way of kind of gelling everything together at the end of the routing with the cassette sim, adding some distortion, some wow and flutter, and then we don't need catch, that thing's crazy. But the compressor at the end, the 303 vinyl sim, is doing some compression, and then a little noise. That's not necessary. I think that's just an old setting I have. And then the even more wow and flutter, because I like things to have that kind of SP sound, right? You know, like that. little pitch changes and warbles and stuff just add that character. So I like to have that. All right, with that, I'm going to do this jam, though. Let's see what happens. I'm already blanking on how we set it up, but that's why we pattern chain it, so that we just let it run. All right, I'm going to start with Isolator, I think, and we'll go from there. All right, I think I need to mute. This is the new microphone, so I got to mute the mic over here, but I'll bring it back on. But like I said, if you've got questions about NAMM, stuff I saw, anything like that, I've got some new gear that I got to cover. You may notice something right there. Something's coming with that soon, and then I'll be doing more with the S1. If you use the S1, let me know in the comments if you're watching it back, or in the chat if there's anything I should check out or try with it, any sticking points you have with it that you'd like to kind of see covered. So far, I've really been digging it. I love the sound of it at NAMM, especially with the T8, which we've kind of replicated with those T8 samples. And then I really want to try pairing it with the P6 and just having this kind of mobile beat making setup. But anyways, we'll go from there. Let me mute this and we'll do the jam. All right, I actually really like that. That came through pretty decently. I think with that, that's everything. So I'm gonna finish this jam up a little bit, do more variation, and then yeah, I'll make the jam that I do for channel members. So like I said, the best way to help support the channel is to join the channel right below. There's a ton of different tiers, and if you want to get all of these samples from NAMM, these are just some of the samples I got. I'll be giving those to the Solar Sailor tier and up, and then every tier gets the SP cheat sheet, all kinds of stuff, as well as all of the videos that I got from NAMM, like the long form. I got like 30 minutes with the Stylophone DS-2 and the, what is it, CPM DF8, the filter one, an hour with the Compacts, and then some time with the Yamaha and a couple others. But it's been awesome hanging out with you. Just hanging out on the channel, liking, subscribing, all of that is more than enough. Next week, I'll have a new video out talking about some of the features I think that are still missing from the 404. I'd love if you'd put in the chat or in the comments if there's anything you feel like the 404 is missing. I've got 5. I mean, I could go on, but I love the SP. It's like my favorite sampler, but there's a few things I feel like keep it from being basically perfect, at least for like what I need. And so we're going to talk about that. But if you've got anything, throw them in, and I'll put it at the end kind of. I'd love to hear where everyone's at with the SP, what's missing. It really was sparked because of the P6 and everything that was added here. It was like, ooh, wouldn't that be cool if this stuff was on here? So that was kind of the genesis of the idea, and then I just took it further. But that's about it. Until next time, I'll be live again every 2 weeks, so in 2 weeks from now. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.